Get him on there. Yeah, we're good to go. Good. Awesome. Comments are going good. Right here. Uh-oh.
That's okay.
What I do.
Click up there, top right.
Right there.
There you go.
Perfect.
They'll pop up as they go.
All right. Sweet. All
I'm
right.
going to go on and share this on my page.
Yeah, go right
It takes
ahead.
about a minute
Yep.
for people to get
Yep. Go right ahead.
Talk a little bit, Mike.
Yep. Yep. Just checking sound, guys. Hey, we're hanging out at booth 3194. About to start the Thursday morning off. Testing audio. Check 1, 2. Perfect. Awesome. Sounds great. Yep.
Thanks, Chris.
Yes,
got people tuning in. Hey, guys, we're going to get going shortly. We're just getting all of our ducks lined up, getting all of our media broadcasting out there. It's an awesome day in Louisville. We had a great night of pulling last night. We saw some massive runs. We saw some earth-shaking runs with the modifieds. The odds kind of played out a lot how we thought they would, especially with some of those hard-hitting classes on the back end of the track. Things are going good. If you haven't been to Full Pull yet, you can still go to Full Pull. Download the app and make your picks. But, guys, let's go ahead and get going with our first interview of the morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm Mike Idle here at the Beer Money Pulling Team booth in Louisville, Kentucky at the National Farm Machinery Show, where we have been unveiling the awesome new edition of the Remedy Diesel Superstock Pulling Tractor. Got a really cool guest here this morning, guys. Hey, I want to welcome Chris Aschliman, the driver of the Diggin' for a Living Limited 4-1 Pro Stock. Chris, how you doing this morning, bud?
Doing great. How are you?
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about what your tractor is, how you did, and what you did in the 2023 season. You know, I like to do a little pre-interview prepping before we get going out here, and I ask a lot of drivers, I said, you know, who'd you pull with? How was your season? As you can see on our banner here, I almost had to just go to my second hand when Chris told me everything that he won this year. Hey, Chris, give us a rundown of your 2023 season and 3 points championships, I believe, right?
Correct. Yeah, we, last year, in 2022, we pulled with Lucas Oil, or now Pro Pulling League Silver Series, and finished up second. The points of that got us here to Louisville last year.
Definitely.
And we started 23 out pretty good one Friday night in the qualifier and ended up fourth in the finals. And, really that I want to attribute that our momentum started there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We carried on then. We went to, we made a decision late summer of 23 that we ran Silver Series. We've always wanted to do that. We wanted to run NTPA Region 3, and we wanted a chance to get, to Ender League.
Yes,
to the Ender League pull-off.
Absolutely,
so,
absolutely.
So we did that, came out, and we come out good. Our tractor runs great. And thanks to a lot of good people that have their hands in it.
Sure. So in that Region 3, you decided to pull Region 3. And I think any people, when they're switching divisions like that, hey, if we finish top 5, finish top 3, but you were points champion, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So we won. So we were the Region 3 Limited Pro Stock champion, and then we were also Wisconsin Tractor Pullers Association Pro Stock or Limited Pro Stock champion. And then a subsidy of that, there's an Iowa swing out with Rockwell and Monticello and a few others. And you can also join UPI, which is United Pullers of Iowa. And we also won that championship. So, going to a new club like that and a new, joining NTPA, there's been a strong, how do you want to say it? There's been a strong guy up there for many, many years.
Sure. You kind of, let's just say that there's a bullseye and you knew what you were chasing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we wanted to go pull against, there's a few guys, not few, all of them up there, but Kevin Lindstrom's everybody knows Kevin.
Yep.
Kevin's been a top dog in the limited pro class for many years. And, I know a couple years ago they had a ranking show, you had Kevin Lindstrom's team up there with his 2 tractors, and you had, the family of the Hartmans, and it was one of the things where it's like, well, we wanted to go run against them, and we had good success. We had a good year. We came out strong and did really well. And that's, my dad, he's sitting here, he's not on camera. He won't get on camera, but he's really a lot of the driving factor that what, obviously he started pulling back in, I don't know, early 70s, early 70s. And he was actually one of the core group of like 7 or 8 people that helped start the Badger State Tractor Pullers back then. got an organization started that, and now obviously there's people that have taken that to a whole different level for that organization.
Yeah.
So.
Badger State Pullers are definitely one of the heavy hitting state level organizations, no doubt about that. Throwing some comments up here really quick. A lot of people just checking in, saying good morning. Good to see everybody watching out there. A couple things I want to talk to you about. You're talking about all these different organizations. I think that's awesome. That's a great way to promote pulling at all levels and in all areas. And you're really talking about chasing the big guys we're going to use the terms interchangeably. Guys, if you're new to truck and tractor pulling, if you hear us use the word 4-1, we're talking about the class that Chris pulls in. If you hear us talking about 9,500, that's another way to refer to it. If you hear the word limited pro stock, it's a 9,500 pound limited pro stock class. 4-1 designates the size of the turbocharger that they're able to use. This class over the past 10, 15, 20 years has swept the nation. There's a lot of tough iron in this class. You talk about how challenging it was to win the points championships that you won this summer. But even looking here at Louisville, I was looking at some of the people you're going to be pulling against tomorrow night. Talk about just the class itself and what you like about pulling in it and just how many strong competitors there are in there.
The class is really, really grown. And part of the reason I think that drew us when we sold our hot farm and bought this tractor we have now out of Missouri from the Mosley family, what drew us to that class is you can go anywhere.
Yes.
Whether it's Outlaw, NTPA, Badger State, UPM, UPI, you can all the way down to Tennessee, out east, out west. You can pretty much go pull wherever you want.
Every fair promoter wants this show at their show. That's a consistent class. It's a hard running class. It's a fan favorite. So when you pull from different organizations, does this class translate pretty easily, or do you have to make many adjustments when you're jumping from one to the other?
No, I don't. It does translate. It goes easily. The thing is coming to a pull like Louisville puts majority of the big hitters, and there's still a lot of big hitters that aren't here. That maybe didn't. There's guys that their schedules don't allow them to chase points throughout the year. Because it's a big commitment to make every pull and to go out there, not only the commitment to pulling, but the disconnect from maybe say your family activities, and that. And, with maintenance and travel and it's a lot. So to wrap up and grab 3 of them in 1 year, I would have never dreamed that we'd do that. But we've been pulling for basically my entire life ever since I was a kid. Started when I was 3 or 4 years old pulling garden tractors. So
what really put this class on the map for me, because this class was I would say 10 years ago it was a developing class, always been a strong running class, but when we saw this class being put on the schedule at Tomah, Wisconsin and at Louisville, Kentucky, to me that really solidified this is a championship level class. Now Tomah, of course, it's a super national pool. It's one of the big dogs out there. You had some pretty good success in your home state of Wisconsin at the Budweiser Dairyland Super Nationals, didn't you, this year?
Yeah, Tomah, what an awesome pool. Been going there since I was a kid, up with the Leonards, family friends of ours. They, Brent. I remember Brent. He won up there when he was, I think, 16 years old. And me and his brother were running around the pits as kids. And we actually, my brother, he pulled a garden tractor at Tomah as an exhibition on the side one time because there was actually an NGTPA at one time, a National Garden Tractor Pullers Association. So, but to be able to have a good, and Hillsboro's, Hillsboro's another one.
Yeah, Hillsboro is a stud pull as well. Absolutely.
And but Tomah, to go up there, the first year we went up there in 23, right before we had to go to Mountain City. And I think we ended up 6th that night, and we were just tickled to death, because I think my dad always tells a story, back in the day they had took the pro stock up there, and the best they ever did was 7th or 8th or something, and they blew the intercooler apart back, and this is maybe back in the 80s or something. So I know it was special when we got to this year in 23 when we got to go up and stand at the announcer's tower, and that was a huge moment for not only myself, my dad, my family. That was pretty special.
Yeah.
It still gets me a little crackled up.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's
going
what
to
it's
a
all
place
about,
like-
man.
yeah.
That's what it's all
Yep.
about, for sure. And you've hit on so many good things that encompass pulling here. You know, it takes a village to go pulling. You know, the families are always willing to back people. It racks up the miles. How many hooks did you guys have this year? Was it a big season for you?
I think we had 17 or 18.
Okay.
You know, we made a decision that we were going to, you know, not strictly. I think we did 2 or 3 pulls outside of the Region 3
Sure.
WTPA realm. We have a close pull at home. A Badger State pull is Mazomanie. It's probably the closest pull we can get to home.
Sure.
Good friends of ours put it on. You know, all our friends and family come there. Some of our sponsors come there. It's a good opportunity for us to just connect with the people around us that support us.
Yep. Yep.
And
Absolutely.
so I think it was 17 or 18 pulls last year. You know, and
that's a comfortable number. I mean, I've heard some people talk about, you know, we did 23, 24. I work with the Outlaws a lot, and the Outlaws had some classes this year that had drivers. A light limited pro stock class had like 28 hooks this year. So I can see that being a manageable, but not without everyone being there to support you as well. So guys, just hollering really quick again. We're at booth 3194 at the National Farm Machinery Show in Louisville, Kentucky. And let's go ahead and talk about Louisville, Kentucky 2024. You hook tomorrow night. What are I almost hate asking this question. I've asked a lot. I always ask people, what's your goal? Well, that's a silly question. Your goal is put it in the sand pile and win the doggone thing. What are you looking to accomplish when you hit the track? And how have you changed your setup from your successful outdoor season to start preparing for this indoor pull?
good question. You know, our goal, definitely everybody's goal is to win, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, we're going to hone in on one thing. You can't win it all until you make it to Saturday night.
Sure.
So no matter
Sure.
if you're first, second, or third, you know, our first goal is to get to the finals.
Yes.
That's the number one goal right now. And then, you know, you'll move on to your next goal, and Saturday night's going to be that next goal if we can get there.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. Does that change? I was watching the modifieds pull last night, and it really felt to me on the Wednesday night session, watching those big mods pull, that it was apparent nobody's goal was to win. Everybody wanted to qualify for the finals with everything intact and ready to go. Does that play in your mind a little bit and change your driving strategy?
No, because here, not for me. For here, that track's so good.
Oh,
It's
no
so
doubt
short.
about it.
You know, you got to come out swinging, and you know, not only is the track that good, every other tractor's that good, and you know, everybody else is on top of their game. They've been spending months or weeks or
Sure.
you know, however many months preparing for this pull.
Mhm.
So you'd hate to. Yeah, it's all for that one.
Yeah.
That you know, live in that moment and
Great, great question here. Were you able to watch any of the polls last night?
absolutely. Yeah.
So Facebook user, we don't see your name up there. Did you learn anything from seeing the track last night? We know it's a great track. We know it's Louisville, but was there any little things you could pick up that you put in your back pocket to use moving forward?
Absolutely. There's a few things, you know, I sat next to my dad, obviously, and we talked on how maybe some things are, you know, they seem different last night.
Yeah.
You know, maybe there's some setup things, and I don't want to give out all our secrets, right?
No, by all means. So you can answer that as a yes or no. Do you have some stuff in your back pocket from what you've seen? It sounds like, yeah, you picked up on some things.
Yes. Yeah,
Sure,
absolutely.
definitely.
There's things, but that changes. They're going to tear that up. They're going to
Oh,
put
yeah.
moisture in it. It's
Oh,
going to be
yeah.
a different track tomorrow.
They announced last night that the track is a little shorter this year. Does that play into anything whatsoever?
You know, man, I just hope the sled stops us. That's the one thing. It comes quick. I'll tell you that. My first pass down here last year was like, you know, you're hauling the mail, and all of a sudden that sand pile and concrete's coming up, and it's like, is this thing going to stop? And all of a sudden, you know, it hits you, and then it's amazing how fast and how quick that thing just comes on and hits you.
I love watching the pull from high in the stands because you can watch the weight box, and I always describe it as the weight box is in a race with the tractor. It's chasing you, and when it hits from way up where I sit, it sounds like it hits hard. Do you feel that in the seat where it kind of pulls you backwards?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's actually some pictures. Somebody, I don't know who, there. You know, we bought quite a few pictures from many different people last year from photographers down here, and one of them's got it where you can see where the sled hit, and actually, you know, it makes the hood kind of jump up, and there's a, you know, it gains a gap in
For
the hood
sure.
because that's how
For
hard
sure.
it hits. It is,
Yeah.
you know, and you can really tell if you're on a good pass when that sled hits you, and it just like all of a sudden it just, you know, I mean, it hits you hard, and but it almost sometimes if you're on a really, really good pass, it almost like propels you.
Yeah,
You know,
it does. It can kind of shoot you a little
there's a
bit and
sense
give you
of
a little-
momentum,
yeah, that's
you
a
know?
great word for
So-
it. Yeah, sense of momentum. So, yeah, sounds like you've got a good plan. Sounds like you've got a good strategy. You've been here before. You've hooked before. You obviously know what you're doing. We're looking forward to seeing you put that power to the ground on Friday night. Two things before I let you go here. You guys have some of the coolest team shirts. You can't see them on the live stream right now. The tractor's called Digging for a Living, and you've got a big old excavator sitting on your shirt right there. So you guys run an excavating company, or what's the story behind the name, and how does that all tie in?
So my name's a tribute to a friend I used to work with, and he's now retired on to bigger and better things. But
Sure.
his name's Mark Troyden, and when we first bought our first pro farm, we didn't really have a name for it, you know. And one day he says, "Well, why don't you name it Digging for a Living?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, at that time I was running backhoe. I work at a natural gas utility company, and
Sure.
and I was running backhoe every day. And my dad used to own an implement dealership, and him and my uncle did, and my grandfather. And when they sold the implement dealership,
Sure.
they kind of got, you know, he got into excavating, and he's been doing excavating ever since. So, yeah, my dad, my uncle own and operate still a small implement with some Ingersoll garden tractors, and then my dad still digs basements, and he's probably the hardest working guy I know. He's retired and still works full time and don't take paychecks. So I don't know how that works out, but
what a great name for a tractor too, because it works on both those levels. Because I mean, when you're out on that track, that's what you're doing. Every inch you're digging for a living too. So.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where it really tied in. It's like, well, you dig, and then the tractor, and yeah. So I give Mark 100% of the credit for that, and it is really, it's became a good brand name for us.
Yeah, that's super cool.
It's you know, it's now we're on our like second logo, and you know, there might be more to come. Who knows?
That's awesome
For
That's
logo
awesome.
stuff, you know, you got to keep up with the
great
times.
Place to be debuting new looks out here. I love it. That's great. Hey, you mentioned your dad and how much that he pours into his, and he's standing right here supporting us every ounce of the way. Now's the opportunity. I'm going to give you the floor. Who do you need to thank? What sponsors do you want to give a shout out to? What plugs do you have? It takes a village to go truck and tractor pulling. And how can they follow you on social media? And what can you tell the world? Here's your chance to give them your thank yous and your shout outs.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, Digging for a Living Pulling Team. We're on Facebook, TikTok, do a little bit of Instagram. I'm not a huge, I actually need to probably pass the marketing and the social media over to my wife. She could probably do a lot better at it than I can. But the first, you know, obviously would be my grandfather for starting what he did, and his passion for pulling back in the, you know, way back in the day when they first owned an implement dealership. And he had a lot to do with, that was his way of connecting with customers. And you know, we'd go to church when I was a kid or whatever. And, you know, we'd come back from a weekend pulling, and that was always his first question was, how'd you do this weekend? You know, and he truly loved tractor pulling.
Absolutely.
And and then, you know, and my dad, he's had a passion, and, you know, I tried to get him in the seat. I told him a couple while back, oh, we'll put you in the seat for Louisville. No, I ain't doing that. And my leg ain't good enough. But he, you know, we make it happen. We're a smaller team, and, you know, we have a lot of good sponsors. My family, you know, my wife, my dad's wife, for putting up. We're gone a lot. We work, you know, we work, and Dad works a lot. I'm gone trying to raise. My wife's raising kids, and, you know, like you say, preparing in the shop, endless hours. But then the people solely around us too. You know, Hart's Diesel's huge.
Yes.
We've been on Hart's Fuel and Air. And
great product, great sponsor. Everything they do is fantastic.
Yeah, and the partnership there with them has been tremendous, and we can't thank them enough. Pro Puller Tires, a couple years ago, we would have been parked if it wasn't for Pro Pullers. He kind of, you know, he set us up, and we owe the world to him. Bryce Mosley, the guy that we bought it from, and Pat, his dad and family, and he's very, very smart individual, and his buddy James and their group down there, and Brian Connor's in on that a little bit with Connor Fuel System.
Absolutely.
They share a shop together. You know, he's really truly the one that put the heartbeat together in that thing and makes it run. You know, I don't do anything without calling and asking him. And You know, we've had such a good relationship, and we couldn't have fell into a better deal buying this thing. It feels right. It feels like the guy's a long lost brother of some sort.
Between your Connor fuel systems and your Hartz turbochargers, you're starting to make this Northeast Missouri guy feel right at home.
Yeah.
I feel like we're talking about local areas here.
Bryce does a lot for, he works hand in hand with Connor fuel systems, and but not only that, you got everybody around us that helps us out. All of our local guys that do our lettering graphics, Mueller Graphics, Dave Whitford, Sun Valley for fabrication. We had an incident early on with the tractor. We tore up some of the front paneling, and he comes and bangs it out and gets us a new panel to get going. Just, everybody pitches in. Our sponsors, starting off with them, I do have to plug them because, we have a great group of sponsorship, and that really is part of our success as a team. So Diggers Hotline, everybody knows Diggers Hotline. If you're if you're a farmer, an excavator, a homeowner, 811, call before you dig. If you're digging a hole, you got to call Diggers Hotline. And I've connected with them, and they really promote us being an advocate for safe digging. Maybe, we try and connect with people that don't know the rules. Tell them, what they can, or maybe get them in touch with the right people.
Yes.
Aschliman Repair Service. My dad's cousin, John Aschliman, he's been around for a number of years, and he used to work for my dad a little bit, but he used to pull back in the day for himself. He comes with us all the time now. He's been a huge help, not only on our trucks and trailers, our tractors, just anything we need. He's always willing to, help. And then I got a couple new ones this year that really came on. Last year was WisconsinSurplus.com. They're an auction company up by us. They take a lot of stuff off of. They got an online auction. So if you got something you don't want to deal with and sell, bring it to them.
Contact them, and they're going to handle it for you, and they're going to move that piece of equipment.
And they do all the legwork.
Sure.
You drop it off. They'll list it. They'll fill out the information, do a little research, test it if they can. Boom. Next thing you know, so on and so forth. And then we got a new one for 2024 Brevant Seeds. That's a new one for us. I just started farming last year. Me and my wife did. On my dad's land and my uncle's land and our land, and we're very small, but it's something I've always wanted to do, and I think my grandpa would be happy to try and keep. He messed around with some cattle back in the day, and I know. So we're trying. So thanks to Dan Durst at Premier Co-op, he kind of got me in touch with Brevant Seeds and with Trevin, and they're going to come on board this year. We're planting all Brevant, and we're going to hopefully continue to grow with them and go on. Mm-hmm. And then we got Garthwaite Homes. My dad does a lot of work for Garthwaite, and he goes out of his way to do things for them, and they wanted to sponsor us this year. But another longtime sponsor, United Grease, Badger Contractor Rental and Supply in Madison. Another rental company from concrete tools to this and that. Another big part of our team that a lot of people don't know, and I'm not going to get into it. His name is Bob Catalino, top-notch pre-owned vehicles. Bob's done a tremendous amount for my dad, myself, and continues to do so every time, and without asking, he shows up and he's the guy. So PS Cattle Company, my mom and my stepdad, my mom's at back home watching my kids.
For sure.
It's a lot to bring kids here.
It is.
We brought them last year, and we wanted to maybe, do some, go down to 4th Street one night and be adults. But
I've heard some of those stories.
We got another new one, Stroh's Inn, local bar in town. They approached me. They're like, hey, we want to be a sponsor. They actually approached my little brother. So Sawyer, and he he came and helped us last year. And we don't have a huge group here this year because everybody's busy and it's hard to get down here.
Absolutely.
But I'm trying to think. I just don't want to miss anybody because it's all.
I'll say this for you, Chris. You're well supported. You're very gracious. And if I could wrap up this whole interview in kind of one common thing, hard work pays off. It's very apparent sitting here and talking with you that you put the work in. Man, this is wonderful. You've got great people working with you, great sponsors. Here's my final message to you, buddy. And if there's someone you need to shout out before we go, just go ahead and plug that in there. But you've done the work. Your tractor's awesome. Go ahead and park that Case IH gently in the sand pile and we'll see you pulling Saturday night in the finals. Any last words for everyone out there?
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, hard work does pay off, like you said, but it's our whole team. We're all hard workers.
Absolutely.
All the people that surround us and friends, family, coworkers. It doesn't matter who. There's a lot. It takes a lot of people to make a team go around, and we appreciate everybody. If you've ever touched it, helped us, even past sponsors. Eagers Enterprises is a past sponsor. We've had a few others, Slaney Snap-on Tools. They were with us for years, and the stars didn't align this year, and so on and so forth. So we appreciate that. We appreciate everybody, all our support, and it means a lot.
Louisville, Kentucky. It's the Super Bowl of indoor pulling, maybe the Super Bowl of all pulling. Chris Aschliman, you've been an awesome interview. Digging for a living, pulls tomorrow night in the limited pro stock 4-1 class. Hey, buddy, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good luck, guys. You had a